Welcome back to the second hour of Real Estate Talk. I'm your host, Willie Lambright, and I say it all the time. Real estate changes people's lives to the good. It's not what you know, it's who you know. This hour is brought to you by Real Estate Concierge and my friend Heather Anderson and Miss Jessica Hollingsworth. I want to welcome both of y'all to the studio. And Heather, you and I always, this is, for the record, Heather is a very intelligent person. And I've always really enjoyed, Heather and I have been doing radio for now a year and a half. And I've always enjoyed trying to pick her brain about real estate because she really knows a lot about it. So we're going to sit this hour up that Real Estate Concierge, if you're thinking about moving to Texas, whether it be from the far left coast, whether it be up in Oklahoma, whether it be in Michigan, whatever you're thinking about doing, you want to stick around with me in this hour. Real Estate Concierge, you can go check them out on owntx.us. Again, that's owntx.us. Now, Heather, you have some really smart ideas about folks moving to Texas. I want to hear all about them.
Okay. This segment, Willie, is about investors. Okay, this is about the investor, right? We have so many questions all the time from so many of our friends, family, clients, friends of clients that always want to know about real estate investing. It's a topic on everybody's mind. It's always interesting. I mean, anybody that watches HGTV, which is basically everybody in this country, it seems, always has some kind of like interpretation of how they would like to be a real estate investor. But what we do, Willie, we really specialize and teach people, really kind of how to get rich slow. Okay, everybody talks about how to get rich fast, but we kind of help people become long-term investment strategists in real estate.
I don't think there's such an animal as get rich fast in real estate.
I think get rich fast in anything is a total hoax.
Yeah.
I think, but all we hear is get rich quick, right? Get rich quick. But I just think that that's illogical for the common person, and I'm a common person. So I think, well, how do I do it, right? And I've never seen that. I've never been a part of it, so I don't know how to teach it. But what I do know is how to get rich slow. So this is a strategy for those that think like us, that think like our leadership here at Real Estate Concierge, which Jessica spearheads. And it teaches our investors how to use their money wisely and use other people's money to build wealth in real estate and get rich slow. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
So are you talking about someone moving here using investment property from a rental perspective, or to invest in real estate simply for the appreciation that's going on in Texas?
Well, you know, a byproduct is naturally going to be that the appreciation occurs, because when you have a long-term property, it's guaranteed you're going to have appreciation, and you're going to have a renter paying down your mortgage, which that's not appreciation, but it is equity. Yeah. And so those two elements, plus they're going to get cash flow on the rental income as well. So
I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No problem. So what we're going to do, we're going to break this down in kind of like 4 parts. All right. I wish I could say easy. They're not necessarily easy parts, but what our job is to make them easy, right? But we're going to talk about a highlight of that. We have a lot of clients from around the country and around the world that always want to invest in North Texas real estate. And actually, investor sales from international folks around the world, mainly China, have increased in the North Texas area by 13% in the year 2015. And that's a pretty big gain to have in a year-over-year situation. So what we're seeing is some of the market areas in their main typical areas, which would be New York, California, Las Vegas, some of those are kind of filling up a little bit. And we're starting to see our city come into their vernacular. And we're starting to see people really start to invest in Dallas from overseas. So we really want to help educate and say, well, this is how you do it the right way. And so that's what this show is dedicated to. All right, so we got 4 parts. We're going to break this puppy down, okay? And Jessica's going to help me because she helped create all this, all right? So the first thing we normally do for a normal buyer that just wants to buy real estate is called, it's called a Real Estate Concierge Buyer Orientation. We call it a RECBO. But for our investors, there's
Call it a what?
a RECBO, RECBO,
That
RECBO,
sounds
real
like
estate
some kind
concierge
of
buyer.
dinosaur.
Okay, but for our investors, it's kind of like a REC bio because it's RECBIO, buyer investor orientation, which is a different animal. And we're also going to talk about finance in this segment 1 on this show today. All right, so first things first, Jessica, why don't you tell us our first goal that we have? What's our first goal when we do our RECBOs and our RECBOs?
I mean, it's just as simple as building a plan. So we really believe the more work you do up front to really plan and think about where you're going, what your goals are, and how you're going to get there, the more likely you'll be to be successful.
Be specific about that in real estate. So if I'm moving to Texas and I come to Dallas and then I go to the Fort Worth stockyards and I see how Fort Worth is and I want to buy a piece of real estate. When you say planning and goals, right? Because I don't really understand that. Planning and goals means, do I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, Pier and Bean house, or do I plan my goals within a certain price range?
All of that.
Do I plan my goals with energy efficient? Do I do pre-owned? Do I do new? All those things are what you're talking about, I think.
Yeah, all of that. And we even really dig into location, really thinking through, because some people are very open at first, oh yeah, I'll live anywhere. But when we really dig in, we ask them, okay, but what's your commute going to be like? And where do you go to church, or where do you go after work? And are you?
I think it's really interesting, because what drives to me, and Heather, you tell me, or Jessica, you tell me if I'm wrong, but seasons in families' lives drives real estate. For example, a young couple that's been out of college 5 years, that have professional jobs, that are, I'm not picking on any certain religion, that are Methodist, right? And they have 2 young children. What drives that family is, you're right, the commute to work, the schools, whether it be a price point. So really, in what y'all are saying is, you got to identify, before you buy real estate, your wants and your needs, and that's got to align with your can-dos, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did I say that right? Jessica's looking at me like she doesn't know what I
No,
just said.
she knows.
I think
Yeah.
you're spot on. That's exactly what we talk about, and it's just asking a lot of questions. We just in those orientations, it's a lot of questions. To
How
really
long does the
understand that
orientation
person.
last? And is there do you get to go to the honky tonk and get vodka shots?
No, sober.
or
You have
wine,
to be.
or what do you do?
We're straight talking. You can have water shots.
Oh, like
That's all.
vodka, by the way.
Okay. It's about an hour and a half, and
Yeah.
we leave about 30 minutes for a little
Is
Q&A.
it personal one-on-one, or is it in a group setting?
Absolutely individualized one-on-one for that person.
Mm-hmm.
And for our out-of-towners, we do it on a Google Hangout. So we see them face, they get to see our eyes and our face and know that we're real-life people, which is very important to people that don't know us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do that on a one-on-one Hangout. And if they're in the area, then we invite them into our office on our conference room, and then we throw it up on the big TV screen, and we just hammer it out.
It's better to come into your office as opposed to meeting off-site, huh?
Oh, without a doubt, because you get rid of the extractions with the noises, and it's hard to get a table at Starbucks sometimes, and it's more professional. We're professionals. But Jessica, her background's in counseling, so it's like a perfect fit, because that's all this is just a counseling session, really, to build a plan. What we found is more people sometimes build for a road trip than actually building to buy a house. And what, especially for investors, specifically investors. So we talked a little bit about regular first-time home buyers or home buyers on this show so far this morning, but also for the investors, my gosh, it's even more specialized. It's even more niche. It's even more important we get it right.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, Real Estate Concierge in the studio. You can reach out to them directly at 855-732-6700. Again, 855-732-6700. You can go to owntx.us. We're simply talking about how to be prepared to take advantage of what I always say, and that's real estate changes people's lives to the good. Well, if you want to take advantage of that, get with Real Estate Concierge and get these 4 steps down that we're talking about during this hour. Heather, when we come back, I got to go to break. Oh, darn. What's number 2?
Okay, we're going to talk about how the search piece differs than the normal buyer. So for an investor, we have to do things differently, and we're going to talk about what those differences are when we get back.
Stick around. We'll be back in a Willie Scotia.